AP McCoy, 20-time champion jockey, over 4,000 winners, many at Cheltenham. I just want to start the interview, AP, because obviously there's a pall around the weigh room at the moment with the tragic and incredibly sad passing of Michael Sullivan. The race course have honoured him with naming the Supreme Novices Hurdle the Michael Sullivan Supreme Novices Hurdle. It's been a very tough time for everybody in the sport.
Yeah, look, what can you say that hasn't been said already? I only met Michael a few times. The last time I met him was at Ascot before Christmas. He rode a horse off Noel George's for JP. Very polite, mannerly, classy young lad. Everyone knows about his talent as a jockey. And it is one of the things that you never get used to. I think the first jockey's funeral I went to was Richard Davis's. He died at Sullivan 19th July 1996. He was a conditional at Toby Balding's like I was, and unfortunately I've been to a few since. I was at Michael O'Sullivan's. I don't think I was ever at a bigger funeral in my life. You know, I think the thing about funerals in Ireland is that there's a lot of comfort from when you see people to try and comfort the family, but what can ever comfort them? You know, what can ever? But that is you know, that is the thing as a jump jockey you never think is going to happen to you, but there is 2 ambulances going around behind you, and you just hope it never happens. And I actually was watching that fall and you know that Michael Sullivan had, and you know, it's just horrific. Your thoughts, and all you can do is think of the family and try and all their friends and family support them the best they can. And it is a lovely touch that his name is being honoured here and remembered at the Cheltenham Festival, where he won the Supreme on Marie Nationale. But it's just a very sad day for horse racing.
There was over 100 people went to the Cur. Jennifer Pugh organised a kind of a talk, and I do feel as a little consolation as it is, supports are better now than they might have been in the past. Yeah,
supports are better, and it's like you try and make the medical care is fantastic. Now it's, unfortunately in sports like football, and we saw it with a young Irish boxer as well. There are sports that has happened in football where it has happened as well, and rugby, that it can happen. You just hope it's never going to happen, but yeah, things have obviously improved, and but when it happens, it just brings it all home, and it just makes you think that that it's just the saddest time, and all you can do is support the family and the friends, and as I said, it's nice that he's going to be remembered here at the Cheltenham Festival, but gone much too soon.
Speaking about the festival itself, then, AP, you're maybe about a decade out of the game. What are you missing about this, and what are you not missing?
I don't think there's anything that I don't miss about it. I'll be retired 10 years this year in April. I was very lucky. I lived the dream. You get to come to the Cheltenham Festival, 70,000 people. Ride winners here, ride losers. Live it. As a jockey, if you're able to come here and win, and win the biggest races, you live the dream. And for any of us that were lucky enough to win those big races, that is the dream. And all you can do is, I've always been trying to be someone that tried to look forward in life and never look back. There are sometimes I look back and think, oh yeah, that I could have done so much better, and yeah, I could have done so much better. But this is the biggest stage, and as a jockey, this is where you want to be able to come and perform, and this is where you want to be able to come and win. And there is nothing will ever replace winning a Cheltenham Gold Cup or a Champion Chase or a Champion Hurdle or whatever it may be in front of 70,000 people at racing's biggest stage.
How do you fill the void then? If you're obsessed about winning, how do you feel? How do you fill the time now? What do you do?
You don't fill the void. You find a way of, there are, and a lot of sports people will tell you can go and do whatever you want, but nothing is ever the same, because I genuinely believe there's a belief and a dream and a vision and a picture in all successful sports people, and maybe even a little bit of an egotistical thing where they think that that when they go out in front of a big stage, they're quite happy that everyone is there to watch. And a lot of people say about pressure, and obviously some people cope with it better than others. Like, pressure is a privilege. The greatest thing to do, to wake up in the morning at a Cheltenham Festival, is be nervous. you know, because if you're nervous, you think, oh, I've got a really good horse to ride, and I hope it's going to win. There was a lot of times when I wish I was way more nervous. There was a lot of times that that, as I said, that I wish I'd done things differently. But the pressure in sport is it's about how you deal with it. But it is a privilege. You know, it is a privilege to come to the Cheltenham Festival and be nervous.
So how are you keeping yourself busy? You're involved in the game, obviously, with William Hill here, and you're still riding out in stables.
Yeah, I still ride out at home. I go and watch a lot of JP's horses in the UK and Nicky Henderson's and places like that. So I do stuff for JP and whatever. I do stuff for William Hill. I do obviously a little bit of TV as well for ITV Racing. Ronnie Bartlett, who sponsors the Albert Bartlett, is a friend of mine. I do some stuff with Ronnie. I keep myself busy. I love riding. I've got 4 sisters and 1 brother, and they've never been on a horse in their life. But even though I've been retired 10 years, you know, I wouldn't say as I got to the, you know, when my dad went to the Billy Rocks, you know, that's when I first knew about being a jockey and being involved in horse racing. Whereas my earlier time was just the thought of riding a pony or the love of, you know, being around horses and stuff like that. So the jockey thing kind of comes afterwards, and you realise, you know, how lucky you are to live your life through that. So the thing is that, you know, I'm not a professional jockey anymore, but I still love riding.
18,000 races I read AP rode in. What's your relationship like with the animal? Because sometimes we forget about the animal sometimes.
As I said, a lot of people think that it's a job and horse is like a commodity, and it's just like, but you have a relationship with horses. I knew nothing about racing when I was a kid. All I knew about was I was looking up. My dad had a broodmare, and there's a picture of me when I was 4 at home, and I just loved coming back from school and looking after the horse, and it was kind of like a friend. So you have a relationship with a horse. I think what people, and maybe sometimes I look at a lot of people in racing, I don't think they realise about the mind of a horse. The mind of a horse is like the mind of a person. It's about. And I was very lucky. I worked for a lot of successful trainers, a lot of successful people. But the mind of a horse is like the mind of a human. It's the most important thing. And, you know, you need to try and get inside. I know it sounds a bit deep, but you need to try and get inside the mind. And if you can do that, then a little bit like people, they'll do. You know, and they are like, I often think that horses are like athletes. That's what they are. They're like professional athletes. They're professional athletes who get incredibly well looked after, and the people that are looking after them love looking after them. You know, they're like their friends. So that's what makes the horse special. Is that I think most people grow up loving the horse before they become deeper involved in it.
Was Synchronized in 2012 in the Gold Cup your favourite Cheltenham moment? Yeah,
for a lot of reasons, because Synchronized's mother, Mayasta, was the first winner I ever rode for JP and Norrie McManus. I got a spare riding her in Punchestown. She ran the day before. Charlie Swan rode her, and then Frank Berry, who is JP's race manager, trained her, and he ran her the next day. And basically, Charlie rode, I think, one of Aidan O'Brien's at the time, and I got on Mayasta and she won. And then that was in 1996, and then come along, you know, many years later, that her son Synchronized won a Cheltenham Gold Cup. And I often think that JP's obviously had a lot of horses, and probably, don't mind me saying, about bought a lot of horses, but the only Cheltenham Gold Cup winner he had, his wife is bred. So thanks to, so there was a lot of history with Synchronized, and obviously a lot of people, you know, I left Martin Pipe to go and ride for JP and Norrie McManus, and you know, a lot of people, you know, a lot of things, but it was the one day I think that I left a race course and thought that's what I was employed to do. More so than when I won the Champion Hurling Binocular for them, or the Grand National and Don't Push It. I do think the day I walked out here after winning the Gold Cup, I thought, yeah, that's why I was employed. You know, and that was the first day, even though I'd ridden hundreds of winners for them, that was the first day I thought, yeah, that's about time I done my job, as Roy Keane would say. That's what you got paid to do.
Very good. In the race itself, though, like, the horse needed a lot of rousting, cajoling. There was a lot of physical effort. Then there was the emotional energy to get him and almost to lift him over the line. Well, how does that manifest itself for you in the race? That's all about keeping him in. Look, he was never. Like, he won a Welsh Grand National, he won a Midlands Grand National, he did win a Lexus in Leopardstown. He was the sort of horse that needed all of the stamina that it took to win a Gold Cup. He was never going to be going around in the bridle behind them all. It was always going to be hard for him. He wasn't
But the one thing that Synchronized had was a great will to win. And I talk about getting inside the mind of a horse, and in some ways, when I was going out riding Synchronized, I thought I had this thing about the mind, about keeping him in certain positions where he was close enough to hang on, because I knew if I could do that, and if I was in contention. And I actually thought a lot sooner than people would realise. I thought when I was coming down the hill after the third last, I pulled him out and he started to run. I thought, oh God, he's actually, because I couldn't get him going. And the moment I went to pull him out, I thought, oh, he's running. And I actually let him come back in again because I thought I pulled him out too early. And then when I let him run back in again, when I got around the bend, then I pulled him out again, then I could feel him picking up. So I suppose I was very lucky that I had won a lot of races in Synchronized, so I knew I kind of had an idea about what was hopefully the right thing to do in him, and then it was just trying to execute it the best you could. So, but you need the horse to do that, and Synchronized had an unbelievable win to win.
You speak about Roy Keane there, AP. Tell us about the day. We all talk about meeting our heroes. Your hero met you at Cheltenham.
Yeah, I'm an Arsenal fan. I was 5 when they won the 1979 FA Cup. I had 2 older cousins who were Man United fans, and I remember Arsenal won, and my dad said to me that the most of the Arsenal team were Irish: Pat Jennings, Frank Stapleton, Dave O'Leary, Liam Brady, Sammy Nelson, Pat Rice. There was lots of them anyway, but I think it was 1996. Myself and Richard Dunwoody were. I think it was 96. It was 96. We were going down a box for. I think it was Guinness or something at the time anyway. And I was going through the crowd. I had a coat on. I was probably just about to become champion jockey for the first time. I was going through the crowd with a coat on, but I had me racing gear on underneath, and an arm stopped me going through the crowd, and I looked back, and it was Liam Brady. And I'd never met Liam Brady in my life, and I had pictures of Liam Brady up on my wall when I was a kid. Even though he went to Italy after leaving Arsenal, obviously because he played for Ireland and stuff. I just thought he was the best thing ever. And he introduced me. He said, "Oh, I'm Liam Brady," and I was like, "I know, yeah, I had pictures up with you on my wall." So it's a very bizarre thing for someone that you grew up. I mean, obviously Lester Pickett was another hero of mine, but as a sports person, Liam Brady was the kind of thing. And I often think now I play golf with Liam Brady. You know what I mean? So it's very strange in life how things work out, isn't it? That you never had met. I'd never met Liam Brady. I thought I was never going to be lucky enough to meet Liam Brady, and he stopped me. So pretty cool.
Just let's go through before we finish, AP, the races this week. The Champion Hurdle, Constitution Hill. Look, he's never been beaten under rules. You see him as a worthy favourite to do it again?
Look, he's unbeaten under rules, you said. He deserves to be favourite, but Brighter Days Ahead is by far the best horse that she has ever ran against. And I know that he beat John Bon on Supreme Novice Hurdle. He was really impressive at fast run race. John Bon is by far a much better chaser than he ever was a hurdler, because he's so quick through the air at his fences. Taking nothing away from him, but she's going to give him as much as he's ever had. So it'll be a fascinating race. Very hard to say that he's not going to win. Which one would I ride? On this year's form, I'd ride her.
What would you ride in the Champion Chase?
John Bon's not even close. If I was picking any horse riding Cheltenham, I'd ride John Bon. I have a bit of a love affair in the mind of John Bon. I think he's just an absolute beautiful athlete.
What would you ride the Stairs?
You'd have to ride Tuhapu because he's the best form, and obviously not on this, but he's a Stairs hurdle winning horse to come back and win it again. Home by the Lee is obviously going for his 4th time. He's a bit better this year, but hard to believe. Lucky Place may be the one that might be the one that could be capable of beating him, but still ride Tuhapu in front of him. So.
You were here in the best mate era. You rode best mate to win a King George. AP is Galopin Des Champs in that bracket. Is he going to be the horse of generation and win 3 Gold Cups?
Look, I think if you come to the Cheltenham Festival on Gold Cup day and you walk around and you ask anyone who's going to the Gold Cup, they'll have drank a lot of whatever they're drinking if they say any other horse than Galopin Des Champs. Galopin Des Champs looks like the ultimate Gold Cup horse that Best Mate was. He reminds me a lot of Best Mate. I don't think, I was asked before if you try and we compare generations, like everything, Messi or Ronaldo or Diego Maradona, you know what I mean? It's not, Diego Maradona always for me because he was a genius when I was a kid. But anyway, it's a bit like race horses. I thought Desert Orca was the best horse that I saw when I was a kid growing up. Won handicaps like the Victor Chandler for 2 miles, and won, the Whitbread Gold Cup, won the Irish Grand National, won the Gold Cup, won 4 King Georges, won over every trip. Cato Star, I think, was the best horse I definitely ever saw in my lifetime as a jockey, because he won Tingle Creeks, he won King George's, he won Gold Cups, he won the whole lot. Best Mate was the ultimate Gold Cup horse, and I do think that Galton Le Champ was just like him. I think if you were to say to me which horse, Cotto got beat by an absolute beast in Denman in one of his Gold Cups, who was a little bit like a Best Mate and a Galton Le Champ. Cotto was a brilliant horse, but Galton Le Champ looks like that Best Mate was, in that he just is the ultimates there. If the Gold Cup was 4 mile too, he'd be even a bigger certainty.
Just to finish, AP, you mentioned John Pond as the horse you'd like to ride the most. Is there maybe one under the radar that we should keep an eye on as well for the week?
Look, the handicaps are impossible. A lot of the people are talking about Copac de May of Willie Mullins, as it hasn't been seen on a race course since. McLary's another one. It's just hard to find horses in the handicaps. Johnny Hu and the Kim Muir, a friend of mine, Gary Brown, has a horse called Walking on Air. I think there's a good chance if he gets into the Kim Muir. Is there one under the radar? Not really. I think we're at a Cheltenham Festival now where you'll find there'll be a lot of shorter price horses than there ever has been, because of the way of the nature of the beast. And I think if you're looking at horses like, I think Dino Blue has a very good chance of winning this year's Mayor's Chase. Even she got beat last year. Ballyburn, I think, was the best novice hurdler last year. I know he's got a stablemate Dancing City in that to beat, but I'd imagine, again, I think if you were putting your hand up to ride one, it wouldn't even be close. So.
AP McCoy, you're an absolute pleasure to talk to. Thanks for speaking to Off the Ball on News Talk, and William Hill Ambassador as well. And look, have a great week. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you.